Charlie Lee will be speaking from Confident Communication Manual, speech number 2, organization. Has someone inspired you with his or her action as an example? Charlie Lee, inspiring influences. Inspiring influences, Charlie Lee.
Good morning, Toastmasters. Yes. Think if you have looked over things that you have learned in your life, was there one person, or maybe a select few people, who have inspired you at some point in your life? Can you remember one person who has given through their example a goal that you've taken as your own and made that a standard by which you may even judge yourself even today? We learn from the examples of other people. We all do. And we might learn from the example of our families, our friends, priests, teachers. There are people who influence us. And there comes a time when we become the person who sets the example for others, and we have to consider the fact that sometimes the example that we set isn't exactly the one that we would have set if we had had time to plan it. And have we all been there when you walk away from a situation and you say, I could have really handled that better. Maybe they won't remember who I am. Maybe they won't. Maybe they weren't paying attention, hopefully. And sometimes I've even thought that maybe my purpose in life is to serve as a bad example for others. In that case, you know, I didn't like the TV show The Simpsons until I realized that, you know, that's what a horrible example they set. And yet, some people will learn from that show how not to behave. And so maybe that's my purpose sometimes. I try to be different, but what we try to do is we try to learn from those mistakes. And that's why we have a group such as Toastmasters here, where we can learn from each other's mistakes. We learn how to speak, and we learn how to evaluate someone else's speech so that we can learn from the mistakes. Because when you're evaluating somebody else, you understand more about how you may operate. And we don't intend to make the mistakes, but as we grow, we learn from our mistakes. And the important thing about mistakes is, as I said, to learn from those mistakes. And when we get here at Toastmasters and good friends who evaluate you honestly, and they'll tell you, they'll give you essential, effective, constructive criticism. They'll help you with something. And those people that give you that criticism, that help you grow and help you learn, will help you to become a better example so that you can set a good example for others and inspire them with something that they'll carry with them possibly for the rest of their lives. And an interesting example, a very good illustration of this comes from my high school English teacher, Mrs. Norman, stereotypically an English teacher. She wasn't really stern, but hard to describe Mrs. Norman, but I will always remember her because she made us read great literature. I didn't want to read great literature. I was I don't know, I was like this big. I was 8th grade or 9th grade or something like that. I wanted to read comic books. I wanted to listen to music and play sports and stay up so late the night before that I could barely stay awake in her class. That was my goal. She wanted me to read great literature. Then she wanted me to read, well, she assigned books for each of us to read. And she assigned me Great Expectations. Well, has anybody read Great Expectations? I could not read that book. Charles Dickens' writing and my imagination put me there, which is the sign of a good writer. But I didn't want to be there. That was not someplace I wanted to be. It was too realistic for me. And I said to myself that this was not a place I wanted to go. Now, as a little bit of a segue, Monty Python has made a career of making fun of early England. But that wasn't Charles Dickens' perspective. My perspective was that I did not want to be there. I could not read this book. But she assigned it as a book that I needed to read. Plus, I had to write a gazillion-page book report on this book as well. So there goes my slipping through that one. I'm going to have to read this book. Well, maybe not. Not reading the book did not stop me from writing the book report. I wrote the book report, and we've all done this. We stay up the night before. We stay up all night long, and we wrote this book. I wrote this book report. We've all written the book report. I think we're all in the same boat. A little bit here, at least I like to think so. What I did is I turned in this book report, and I had great expectations on my grade. I didn't know what to expect. Well, Mrs. Norman, a week later or so, after she drudged through all these books, she summarily returns the test. You know the way teachers do that? They fold it so you can't read it. What is it? I'm trying to look inside. What did she write? And I look in it. A+/F. Ew. What is that? Well, she doesn't always write comments, but in this case, she did. And in the little bubble, it said, Charles, you wrote a very good book report. Your grammar was excellent. Your English was excellent. Your writing style was excellent. And then she closed by saying, anyone who hasn't read this book would ever know that you didn't either. I thought, what a valuable lesson. I might not have thought that then, but I suppose over the years it's matured a little bit, and I realize now that that was what I deserved. She gave me credit where credit was due, and she yanked it where it wasn't due. She took it away. And she impressed me. She has always been that person that, as you can tell, I've always remembered Mrs. Norman. And she has given me something that I can take and hopefully share with others and let them take that with them. And I want to thank Mrs. Norman.